Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai SATCHARITRA, an Insight. Episode 237. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Devotees, we closed the previous episode listening to a few details about a renowned saint and ardent devotee of Sri Sai Maharaj by named Sri Ramanathan Bua. Let's continue to listen to a few instances from the saintly life he led. Most fervent devotees of Sri Sai Baba, known as Nana Sahib Chandorkar and Anandrao Trayambak Karnik, also lived in Kalyan, and these two were closely associated with Sri Ramanathan Bua. At one instance, Karnik requested Sri Ramanathan Bua to initiate a mantra to him. Observing the spiritual aspirations of Karnik, Sri Ramanathan Bua pointed out his hand to the picture of Sri Sai Maharaj that was hanging on the wall, and by a hand gestures he revealed that holding on to the holy feet of Sri Sai Baba is the only means to achieve this spiritual goal. One might wonder the reason for Ramanathan Bua to give his directions through gestures to Karnik rather than voicing out to him. Let us ponder on that now. An incident took place in the life of Sri Ramanathan Bua which was a turning point for him. From then, he was determined to not speak about any worldly matters, instead remain in silence. Devotees, it is inevitable for us to listen to the happenings that took place in Sri Ramanathan Bua's life, because that will give us the better understanding of his spiritual order and make us marvel that he, being a spiritually elevated soul, could have easily initiated his friend Karnik with a mantra. Instead, he directed the latter to Sri Sai Baba. Because a saint by his prophecy knows the past, present and future of a person. Thus, analyzing the past of Karnik, Sri Ramanathan Bua might have perceived the connection that Karnik had with Sri Sai Maharaj in the previous births, and accordingly he might have directed him. Similarly, Sri Sai Baba has also guided various devotees to approach other gurus for their spiritual upliftment. This incident is also a testimony to the fact that Sri Sai Maharaj is a Sadguru, that is, Master of Masters, and not an ordinary saint but an unsurpassable one. Sri Ramanathan Bua was born to a Deshpande family in a district named Raigat at a place Ben during the year 1856. When he was very young, his father died. He has been a spiritually inclined child and was greatly devoted to God. In the previous episode, we have mentioned that as a child, he would cuddle the Shiv Pindi and place his head on that, chanting the name of Lord Shiva incessantly. In the later years, he got initiation from a guru named Sri Balamukund Swami. Sri Balamukund Swami was a great saint. His guru was a renowned saint who lived for nearly 350 years. Sri Balamukund Swami learned Kata Yoga from his guru and became prominent for granting various subtle experiences to his devotees through his mastery in Kata Yoga. After initiating Ramaruti Buva, both the Guru and the disciple went on a pilgrimage in a subtle form to China, Japan, and Nepal. Such was the greatness of the Guru, and the disciple was also receptive and befitting one to enjoy those blessings. In the district Sangli, state of Maharashtra, in a place known as Haripur, Sri Balamukund Swami attained Samadhi. After this, Sri Ramaruti Buva came to Narsobhavadi, a Dattakshetram, and did Parayanam of Gurucharitra. The disciple couldn't bear the loss of the mortal coil of his Guru. So, he decided to go to the Himalayas. He did penance for almost 12 years there. Then he came to Kashi, and on the holy banks of the river Ganga, he met a saint named Guru Bandhu and stayed in his ashram. One day, the Guru Bandhu was giving a discourse to his disciples on Vedic philosophies. At that moment, one of the explanations didn't seem to be correct in the perspective of Sri Ramaruti Buva. Immediately, he intervened and gave his viewpoint and said this would be the appropriate description of the subject. The disciples felt that these details were proper and appreciated the gist of the explanation. This kindled the ego of Guru Bandhu and led to debating. Finally, he got very upset and became angry at Sri Ramaruti Buva. As his interference led to bitter feeling among the two, Sri Ramaruti Buva at that juncture took a vow to never speak a language related to mankind but only speak the language of God, which means he would only pronounce the holy name of the Lord. He has compiled his most favorite 22 divine names of the Lord, and apart from those, he never spoke any other word. Those are Sri Ramar, Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama, Ramachandra, Raghuvira, Raghupati, Shiva Shankar, Bhima Shankar, Har Har Mahadev, Shiva Shiva, Vittala, Vitoba, Panduranga, Govinda, Gopala, Ganapati, Hari, Gopala Krishna, Harinarayana, Dattatreya, Maruti, and Balabhima. Until his last breath, that is Mahasamadhi, he did not chant anything other than these 22 names. Hence, to recall, when Anandrav Trayambak Karnik requested Sri Ramaruti Buva to initiate a mantra instead of telling him to go to Sri Sai Maharaj for initiation, he pointed his hand to the portrait of Sri Sai Maharaj that was hung on the wall and through hand gestures directed him to hold on to the feet of Sri Sai Maharaj. Later, this great saint became an ardent devotee of Sri Sai Maharaj, which itself is a testimony to the greatness and the spiritual pinnacle attained by Sri Sai Baba. It is very interesting to know Sri Ramaruti Buva's first meeting with Sri Sai Baba. On December 19, 1911, he made his first visit to Shirdi. He came around noon. It was a sunny day, and by then the Madhyana Arati for Sri Sai Maharaj at Dwarakamai was in progress. The people was packed with devotees, so he stood at one corner of the masjid. The moment Ramaruti Buva entered the masjid, Sri Sai Maharaj noticed him, and in excitement he lifted his hand and waved him to come closer. Sri Sai Baba directed the devotees to stop the Arati. This kind of situation had never happened in history of Shirdi. Not once the Arati was stopped by Sri Sai Baba. Everyone was surprised, and listeners now pay attention to what happened next. Sri Sai Maharaj called Ramaruti Buva to come near him and made him sit next to him on the gunny bag he was seated in. The devotees present there were stunned to see this act of Sri Sai Maharaj. Listeners, Please don't forget that this is the first visit of Sri Ramaruti Buva. Hence, none of the devotees at Shirdi knew who he was. This act of Sri Sai Maharaj reveals that Sri Ramaruti Buva was in a higher spiritual plane. By making the latter sit next to him, Sri Sai Maharaj granted Sparsha Diksha in a subtle form. Though this incident is cited by Kaparde in his diary, it is not mentioned in detail. After this, Sri Sai Baba signaled to continue the Arati. Everyone in Dwarakamayi realized that Sri Ramaruti Buva must be a great saint. A similar incident also took place in the life of Sri Akkalkot Maharaj. There was a spiritual aspirant named Sri Narasimha Saraswati. He was also known as Vittal Swami and was living in Pandharpur for many years, though his native was Alandi. Once he started from Pandharpur and went to Akkalkot to have darshan of Sri Akkalkot Maharaj. Sri Akkalkot Maharaj knew by his omniscience that an aspirant was coming to visit him. So he instructed his devotees at Akkalkot to get a deer skin and make a seat next to his. The ardent devotees wondered who would be the great one that could come and sit in par with Sri Akkalkot Swami. As indicated, Sri Narasimha Saraswati came to meet Swami Samartha Akkalkot Maharaj around noon on a sunny day. As soon as Akkalkot Maharaj noticed Narasimha Saraswati, he waved his hand in joy, asking him to come nearer to him and made him sit on the deer skin that was placed next to his seat. This happened when Akkalkot Swamiji was staying at Bandarkhana, a place near the Akkalkot palace. At that moment, Swami Samartha chanted a sloka loudly in Sanskrit. This sloka describes the secrets of the 6 Adhara Chakras. Vittal Swami was astonished hearing this because his purpose of visit to Akkalkot Swamiji was to learn the crux of these 6 Adhara Chakras, whereas to his amazement, without being asked, Akkalkot Swamiji chanted this sloka, and while chanting, he fixed his eyes on Vittal Swami, and this glance of Akkalkot Swamiji made Vittal Swami experience the state of Samadhi. This state continued for nearly 1 to 2 hours. It's a subtle way of granting Sparsha Diksha as given by Sri Sai Maharaj to Sri Ramaruti Buva by making him sit next to his seat. Now let's continue to listen about Sri Ramaruti Buva's stay at Shirdi. He came to Shirdi on 19th December 1911 and stayed for almost 34 days there, that is until 21st January 1912. Kaparde also was in Shirdi during the same period. Hence, he wrote down the daily happenings in his diary, and these recordings are enabling us to know about the association that prevailed between Sri Sai Maharaj and Ramaruti Buva. On 21st January, a devotee by name Sadashiv Rao Dikshit had come from Mumbai for Sri Sai Baba's darshan. After having his darshan, he sought permission to leave. While granting him leave, Sri Sai Baba, pointing to Ramaruti Buva, said, "Take him also along with you." Thus, Sri Ramaruti Buva was given permission to leave Shirdi. Every day at Shirdi, Kaka Sahib Dikshit was made to read Eknath Bhagwat and Bhavarta Ramayan. Sri Ramaruti Buva listened to these readings during his stay. Similarly, Kaparde read Yoga Vasishta and gave discourse on Panchadasi. Then Sri Upasani Maharaj read Vedic scripture in Marathi called Parama Amrutam. Sri Ramaruti Buva also listened to all these readings. On 4th January 1912, he delivered a strange behavior. That night, Sri Sai Baba was walking towards Chavadi for Shejarati. In the then years, every alternate day, Sri Sai Maharaj would sleep in Chavadi. So during Chavadi procession, Sri Ramaruti Buva ran towards Sri Sai Maharaj and hugged him close to his heart, while the ardent devotees there would even hesitate to get closer to Sri Sai Maharaj to touch his holy feet, as his responses would be unpredictable, whereas Sri Ramaruti Buva hugged Sri Sai Baba, and this scene astonished everyone. Devotees feared that Sri Sai Maharaj would get enraged at him, but to the surprise of all, Sri Sai Baba was very calm. It is believed that at that moment a subtle discussion must have taken place amongst these two great saints. In the 2 weeks after this, that is on 18th January 1912, a day prior to the passing away of Megha, Sri Sai Maharaj was getting enraged for no specific reason. Dwarakamayi was in chaos. Everyone was running hither and thither, getting scared to understand or withstand the anger of Sri Sai Maharaj. Suddenly, Sri Sai Baba ran towards Sri Ramaruti Buva and lifted him up. Why did Sri Sai Maharaj do this? How was this beneficial to Sri Ramaruti Buva? What was his feelings at that moment? All this can be heard in the coming episode. Bo to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.